Hello guys, welcome to tutorial space with myself, Ola. In today's tutorial, we are going to be delving a little bit away from what I previously planned due to some things I overlooked previously, and for today we are going to be dealing with that. However, it is really simple to do. So what we'll be doing today is to create a new sub-assembly, something like this. But this time around, we are going to be making use of our cam housing and a ram bearing. So this should be the last sub-assembly that will be needed before we do the total and final assembly video. For the meantime, if you are new to this YouTube channel and then you like the things that you've seen so far, I can assure you that interesting projects are going to be following this very tutorial, and I would like you to be a part of this. So for the purpose of that, I encourage you to go over to the subscribe button to click on it. Yeah. Alright, so we just head into what we have to do. For now, what we need to do is nowhere here. So I have the rotary engine activated. It actually should be radial engine, but I guess I'm too lazy to change it. And then we select on the new assembly. So one of the viewers by the name George Pavlakos, I'm so sorry if I did not pronounce that properly, but he placed a comment at the comment section to draw to my attention that some dimensions were missing, which evidently were true after I reviewed the parts. And however, I didn't see it fit for me to change it outside a video so that those who have made a mistake with me would be able to correct with me also. Alright, so it's actually the second video in this series that was created. That is the second part, the volume 2, which I have labeled as the cam housing. So what we will do today, first of all, is to just quickly edit that part. It's going to be really simple. And then we also create the sub-assembly using the ram bearing and a bearing from our content center. So quickly, we go over to place, and then I search for this part, which was the volume 2 video created for this series. I open this and place. Alright. So before I bring in the other parts, I will just quickly decide to edit this. So I right click and select on edit. Alright, so first of all, if you created your parts using the same processes that I did, I think it should be really easy. But however, it could be easier also with the process that you might have used. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be editing the sketch used for creating this revolution, and very simple, well, quite simple modifications to be done. I would redimension this to be 6. Alright, then I would be placing or drawing a line. So you notice that these things can move around, which ought not to be. So they're not fully defined yet, so I have to make sure that they do not change, and just to properly dimension this part. So I'm selecting a line and construction line. So I would just draw a line which is collinear with this in this way, and do the same for a line this way. Alright, I would repeat the same process here. Create a line this way and create a line this way. So what I'll do is to apply the collinear constraint so that this line is directly offshooting from this. Select on this first and this, so you notice what we have. I select this also and select on this line, so the same thing. Then I select this and this line and this horizontal with this line. Alright, with those I can trim out the unnecessary parts for both of them. 1 and 2 also. And then what I will do is to create extension. Let's see, extend to this, correct. This is extend to this, correct. All right, so I place a dimension between this face or this line here and this point. So this is going to be 21. All right. This dimension here is still going to be 32.5, so I can just drag that down. I think, okay, I could leave it upwards, so I'll return this back to its previous position somewhere around here. Then I place a new dimension between this line and this point here. All right, and I make this 37. Accept. All right, so that's actually correct. What we included here is 21, and we also made this to be 6. So I think those are the only two dimensions that are needed to fully constrain this part. And this is already 8, which is already, yeah. So let's see. Yeah, so they no longer like change, you know. Then the only thing to do now is just to make them align to a particular point. So I've constrained this line to this origin point, and I think that should be sufficient for it. So I'll drag these, you know, just to see if I could dimension this in a neat way. This is not that neat, but I think it should be sufficient. Alright, so we have all of this, and that's that. So I finish up the sketch, and we notice a little bit of changes. Alright, so having done that, we would also be editing something else. So I take a look at the back view, and what we would be editing here is going to be these holes which we have. So this is done. This extrusion is here. The hole is here. So I do this. I edit this sketch 4. Edit sketch. Alright. And what we would do, I would have to delete this top point. Delete this 2.25. Delete this top point, and dimension from this point to this point, making it 42.5. all right, with that I would finish up the sketch, and let's see what we do have now. All right, so also I would be changing, let's see, the hole is this. I'll adjust the dimension of the hole, edit feature. So I think it's about, okay, it's 4 millimeters. All right, so 4 millimeters is what we actually want. I would say okay, so that's fine. However, if you notice that it's very close to this face, which is not quite good, so what we would be doing is I would from here drag the end pattern upward just below the revolution, and at the back view I would create an extra sketch and a new sketch. Alright, I will draw a circle here using the center of this, and this circle is going to be of diameter 5. Alright, so with this I would say finish sketch. Okay, then I would create an extrusion of this in the opposite direction and up to surface, I guess, this way, or let's say up to next, the opposite direction. And let's see how this forms itself. So that's not pretty much what I want. Well, look who's here. So what I'll do is I'll just say true all. I think that should be sufficient for what we intend to achieve. And I would say join. That's weird. To join that and say okay. Alright, so this is actually what I want. Yeah. Alright, so with this I can drag the end of parts back down. So the reason why I dragged it up was if I hadn't done that, the extrusion would have been below the circular pattern. So now I can go over to circular pattern to edit the feature, and by doing this I can include with the features this extrusion here. Alright, so with all of that, okay, right? Yeah, so we have this extra feature here. Alright, and lastly, for what we have to edit, we would have to, apparently it's not lastly, but we would have to edit these holes also, which is this extrusion here. It's quite weird that we have to do all of this. I mean, so this is sketch. Let's see. Alright, so I'll just select on the sketch to edit this sketch. It also should be quite minor. I'll go to view and slice the graphics. Alright, back to sketch. So what I want is, let's change this way. The reason why I'm changing it is because this is how I drew it on my sketch board. Alright, so this is 9.21 and this is 7. So the part which is closer to this point is going to remain as 7, which is this, while the part closer to the back is going to be 9 rather than 9.21. So I change this to 9. Alright, let's just drag this outside and maybe let's say like this, and then 16.5 for this and 10. Alright, so that's good. This is 5 and this should also be 5. Yeah, so this is 5, that is 5. What is going on? Alright, so this is good, and finish sketch, and it adjusts itself. And then lastly, what we would be doing is to edit this revolution here. Okay, so for this revolution, I'll click on the sketch, edit sketch, and pretty simple also. View, slice graphics. Alright, back to sketch. The dimension from this line, that is the back point here, to this line here, we would be making that 22.5. So in the process I have to delete this, and I would say from dimension this to this would be 22.5. Alright, so this is what we have, and with that this is 3.5 correct, and we finish the sketch. Alright, so this is what we have, and now it makes more sense, right? Okay, so at this point I return. We are done with editing the parts, and so we can introduce the rest of the new parts to come. So I would go over to place and bring in what we call the ram bearing. This part. I'm so sorry. I know that probably a lot of you still won't know what ram bearing is. I got a mail from one of our good viewers, and I'm trying to work on creating a PDF to upload so that everyone can be able to follow through appropriately. It's possible that the PDF is already out before you are even seeing this video. It's very possible, but I'm definitely going to do that as I'm already working on it. Alright, so I bring in the ram bearing and I click on open. I have it a couple of times, but I would not be placing them individually all the time. So I'll just bring in two and I would mate these two and like pattern it all around. Alright, so constraint, right? I select on this cylindrical surface and one of these, apply. I do the same for the other and one of these, apply. Alright, then I look, let me see. Okay, and I would say tangent. Alright, so I would select on this face and select on the bottom face here. Okay, well, it's kind of weird. Apply, and I'll do the same this and the bottom face weird here. Apply and cancel. It's going to be a little bit difficult for them to actually be like, tangential, because this is flat and this is curved. Anyways, that seems to be working so far. And then the next thing to do, I will just pattern it all around. So to do that, I go to 3D model. Actually, I can do that from here, axis, and select on a cylindrical face. So I've created a yellow axis here. I go to pattern and circular pattern. I select on the two ram bearings, select on this, which is this line, and we say it should be 7 times, and also that will mean 360 degrees divided by 7, and say okay. So we have all that all around. Alright, so at this point I can make the work axis invisible and bring this back to this form. And lastly, what we would be doing for today is that I'll be bringing in a bearing from the content center. So okay, so we are already in shaft parts, and we would go over to bearings, ball bearings, deep groove ball bearing, and then we search for a DIN 625 T1. That's this DIN 625-T1 and select on OK. Alright, so I select on this cylindrical surface, right, and pick on the bottom face here to drop. Yeah, so now we have our bearing, and I click on escape, return this to this form, and we are done with this work. So I'll make this the the top view, just to change the look of this. This is the top view. This way, come on, this way, front view, sideways, this way. Good. So I'll make this now the home view, fit to view. Alright, so this is where we end for today's tutorial. I hope you guys enjoyed this so far. Today's work could have been a little bit tasking, but it is what it is. Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed this work. Do not forget to subscribe to this channel. Do not forget also to click on the like button if you enjoyed the tutorial, and also click on the notification bell so that you can be updated when new uploads are made. And for this, I have to not forget to save this part. Assembly files, I would call this the cam housing sub assembly. Alright, save and okay. Alright, so that's done, and I would see you guys in the next tutorial. Remember, Keep watching this space.